Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here on another edition of Extreme Health Radio. My name is Justin, and we currently broadcast 3 days a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Actually, the schedule's all kind of mixed up, so I usually add shows 3 days a week, but the schedule's been a little bit mixed up lately, so thanks for bearing with us. We are broadcasting worldwide from Southern California, so thank you for joining us on this show. If you would like to follow us on Facebook, that would be excellent. You can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. Let's see here. Today, for reference, is Friday, March 8th, 2013. And this is episode number 71, so you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/71. And we put all the show notes on that page, as well as the transcription and time. And any links or books that the guest mentions, we'll throw it all onto that page, so you don't have to take notes. You can just refer back to that page. And let's see, if you have any questions for me, you can always email me at justin@extremehealthradio.com, or you could call our voicemail line, which is 949-391-7363, and you can leave a message there, and I'll play your message to our guest. I'd love to have you call that number and leave a message and interact with our guest. If you want to support us, you can support us at extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, and anytime you make a purchase there, we'll get a little commission if you would like to do that, and that will help keep the shows free and all of that. And it's a beautiful day here in Southern California, so I'm excited about today's show. We have Nick Stern from Sunwarrior Protein on the line, and I'll be introducing him in a minute. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our upcoming show schedule. We got a lot of great guests coming up. Let's see, on March 11th, Monday, March 11th, we have Clint Ober from earthing.com. And if you have never heard of earthing, it's a really interesting concept of being grounded to the earth and the electromagnetic charge that comes off the earth. And so that's a good show, and that'll be a good show. And then we've got on Wednesday, March 13th, Anne Louise Gettleman. She's an author, written tons of books, and her website's annelouise.com. And then this is going to be a wild one. On Thursday, March 14th, we're going to be speaking to Agenus Vonderplanets from WeWantToLive.com. This is a guy who eats raw animal products, meat and eggs and milk. It's crazy. So that's going to be a good show. But today we've got Nick Stern on, and I'm excited about this one because I'm a gym rat like he is. So it's going to be fun to talk to him. He's the co-founder of Sunwarrior, the website sunwarrior.com, and they produce a protein powder and all kinds of different supplements and really cool products on that website, sunwarrior.com. So thanks, Nick, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. Have me on your show. I think it's very important what you're doing here is to educate people, because I don't even watch TV or read the newspaper anymore. I get most of my knowledge from the internet. So you get more truth from the internet if you can decipher through the maze of information there. So. Oh,
totally. I do too. I've given up TV watching a long time ago. Most of that stuff is just kind of programming and propaganda, isn't it?
I believe 6 corporations own all the media, from what I gather, from what I've read. So, so they give you, and most of the medias are controlled by big pharma, and I call it the Wall Street guys. So you're really not going to get all the best information. So that's why a show like yours is very important. So I'm glad to be on here with you.
Oh, thank you. So are you in Florida right now?
I'm in Florida. Yeah, I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I live on the beach. I'm one of those beach guys, and I heard your introduction about you're going to have somebody on the earthing. So I'm a big believer in connecting to the earth, because we're always on with the cell phones and the computers. I try to spend at least a half hour a day, and I get out on the beach and walk barefoot out there. So that's going to be a good show. I heard you in your commercial there. We got a future guest coming on your show.
Yeah, Clint Ober. We have some of his products, like the grounding pads that you can get. Do you ever play around with those things?
Yeah, I had the blanket, the sheets in that. So
nice. I wanted to ask you, this kind of gets into one of the things I wanted to talk with you about today is obviously, you're into the protein and the muscle and building muscle and things like that, like I am. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into why you are the way you are at 60. It's not just the working out. And I think the earthing. And so I want to talk with you a little bit about some of your daily practices. What do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, protocol, you call it. So I have many things I do, and I'm still what I did last year, I'm not doing today, and what I'll be doing today, I won't be doing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I'm always constantly changing, and you're going to have a lot of opinions from a lot of different experts, and I believe everybody's got to be their own expert eventually. And you got to take from everyone. Maybe I give some people today some good little things they can use, but I found out I take from everybody. I started this journey back in 1965. Got my book. My sister-in-law worked in a health food store, and I used to go visit my brother, and she'd be working in the health store. This is going back 1965. And I was intrigued by the books, and the first book I read on health was Paul Bragg, The Miracles of Fasting. That sparked my interest, and I'm reading in the book. I'm waiting for her to, and she used to give me tips on health. And I was reading the book, and he had a comment in the book that stuck to me that sparked my interest at an early age. I think I was like 13 years of age, and it said, "Why grow old? You build a whole new bloodstream every 90 days. What you put in today, meaning food, will be walking and talking tomorrow." And here I am looking at this guy in the book. Are you familiar with Paul Bragg? He had a big head of hair, and he was tan. And I heard he actually died. He was actually surfing and got water into his lungs. And then they gave him prescription drugs, and that's how he really died. But it was amazing looking at this guy. He's in his 90s. So that sparked my interest. Like, why grow old? And since that time, I read everything I can about health, and the health journey has been a lot of contradiction. You'll have one expert saying one thing and another one, and you go, who do I believe? And I'm still finding this pertains even today, almost 50 years later. I hit 60 this year, and I started this in 65. And you'll get a lot of contradiction. Some say distilled water, some say, spring water. Paul Bragg would say, well, your body cannot change inorganic minerals to organic.
Right.
And he was doing difficult yoga positions. So at 90, so I'm going, maybe he's right. And a lot of guys say, well, distilled water depletes a lot of minerals, but he says it takes inorganic minerals out of your body. So who do you believe? I have a lot of friends, David Wolf, a lot of experts, Daniel Vitalis, I know they've been guests on your show. And then you got Brian Clement, another guest on your show, and he's into distilled water like me. We learned that from Paul Bragg, but I charge my water. So I got my own little tricks that I do. So I'm just telling you this, the health journey, I'm still figuring out stuff to this day here and still trying to make sense of it all.
I heard an interview a while back with Daniel Vitalis, and he was talking about how he spent some time with you. I forget where I heard this, but he was saying, if you want to follow this guy around and just look at all the little daily disciplines he does on a daily basis to stay in the kind of tip-top shape that he does, it's a pretty amazing thing. Do you think that a lot of your reason why you're so vital and so healthy has to do more with the daily disciplines, your diet, and everything you do outside the gym, or is it?
I multitask.
Okay.
I learn tips from everybody, from Daniel, from David Wolf, from Brian Clement. These are all my friends now. I used to look at a lot of these guys from afar before I started Sunwarrior, and then we became friends. And I'm just like a sponge. I learn from everybody, but I find out like what works for one guy might not work for another guy. And then I have a lot of guys that are well respected, like Brian Clement, that puts people under the microscope. So I have to look at that. Are you familiar? I just got back from the Big Island of Hawaii because I plan on buying some land up there, which we could talk about later, building an eco-friendly community down the road. It's got some of the most pristine air and land for growing food. And that's going to be my next journey is how can you make your journey, you move in steps. Like when I started, I first went to eating, not the boxed and canned foods. I try to get natural. Then you go organic. And now my next step is I go to a farmer's market, which is local to me. So my progression is, what's the next logical step? Where do you go when you keep moving up the grade of food? My next step is to grow it in the most pristine soil and pick it that day and eat it. So it's not on a truck for 1,500 miles, and you know where it came from. You become part of the food on that land. That's what's calling me now. But did I think like this 3 years ago? No, but my journey is leading me to just higher levels of health. So what I'm going to tell you today is some of my journeys, what I figured out, which works for me, but I don't know if a lot of the average person has the time that I do for a lot of this. This is important to me. This is my life's work here, is my body, is how do I keep it young and try to crack some codes on aging. And I just don't like reading stuff. I like applying a lot of these principles to myself, and I have diaries, and I write everything down, what works, what might not work, because You know, when you're in the industry, you're looking at stuff. I call it the supplement of the month or the superfood of the month. You know,
right.
You know, I mean, you can't do everything. So what I do, I try things out and see what works on my body. So maybe let's start from scratch. Maybe give me some questions. I can kind of answer some of the stuff I do.
Yeah, totally. So let's start with your morning, and then we'll move to evening. How about that? Let's start with your morning. What time do you normally get up, and what are your your morning rituals and things like that?
Yeah, morning time, I'm doing a lot of my work for my business. I'm up at probably about 5 in the morning, 5:30.
Okay.
And I'm doing a lot of research. And I have a Twitter, you know, it's called Raw Nature Boy. I find select articles from all the people in the industry, and I try to post stuff. And I try to learn. As I'm going, I'm learning and just researching what's out there, anything I haven't heard about already. So I do a lot of the research and post it on my Twitter, and then I send some of the stuff off to my company, which we created as Sunwarrior News. Our staff now, we have Sunwarrior News, and we're trying to find good articles every day to give our customers value. And what's value to me is information that you can use to enhance your life, to improve your life, to improve your health. So I do a big part of my day is early in the morning, I'm researching and looking at the latest stuff that's going on and posting some articles and just getting my day ready. In that meantime, first I start out with some good clean water, and then I make a tea. Now, this is probably where Daniel, if I tell some of the guys, what I do is I just don't take one tea. I have probably about 8 to 10 different teas here, and I mix them in a crock pot.
Okay.
You know, I have ginseng, I have yerba mate, and I have all these different mixtures of teas, and I try something different all the time. I'm always changing the mixture, but I cook my tea slow at nighttime in a crock pot at a low heat.
Okay.
This sounds kind of drastic for the average person. You're just finding out. This is kind of moving up the ladder because most people aren't going to be going as crazy as I do, but I'm just giving you some of I call them my secret ninja tips.
No, this is all good because this is Extreme Health Radio. Our listeners are into it, so let's
and we're going to get into working your way up to a black belt, and I'm like a 6-degree black belt because I'm always looking for you really don't do the stuff I do if you're just starting out.
Right. Right.
You start out, let's just start eating clean. Let's just start going organic. And let's see if we can get a little more foods that are raw, where you have the enzymes intact and it's not denatured. And that's how you start moving up the ladder. The trouble I see a lot of people, they want to go to the superfoods and their diet is still crappy. You got to get your basics down. And it's like getting your black belt. You go from a white belt to a brown, your black belt, you get to the point when you're a black belt, you're doing just about everything right. Now you start adding in some you got to get your basics down as your macronutrients. You got to get your carbs, proteins, and fats, all good sources. So once you have that down, then you can start tweaking and start doing some of the stuff that I do to go to the next level, I call it. So there's different levels of health that I look at. This works for me, though. I'm just giving you my philosophy.
No, this is great.
I believe you got to work your way up the ladder. You don't start with superfoods and you're eating a bunch of cooked garbage that are processed in boxes and cans loaded with chemicals and stuff. Let's just start eating fresh, fruits and vegetables, clean water. If you do decide to go more my journey, more into the plant-based, high raw plant-based, a lot of people can't do that overnight. A lot of people start to detox too quickly. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of go off the raw food diet or the raw plant-based diet. It's very cleansing on the body, and you'll feel good for a while, and sometimes you'll detox too quickly, and then you'll binge eat. That's what happened to me for years, and then I feel guilty, and I go back and forth. What I've learned now, I take everything slow. My diet's very instinctive now, but that took years and years of me eating like this to figure out what my body needs.
Okay, so you had some tea in the morning, a bunch of different types of tea.
Different mixture, slow cooked. Now I'm having the tea, and the reason I'm doing that because I'm a gym junkie. I find yerba mate and the teas that I drink, I can't drink coffee. It kind of burns my adrenals out. I just don't feel right. I don't feel healthy.
Right.
I want the little buzz for the workout. I want to feel charged because when I go to work out, I never have a bad workout. So I'm drinking the tea, doing my work, but now I'll take the remainder of the tea and I have a glass jar, and now I start putting my superfood herbs in there. Now I go into the Ayurvedic herbs like turmeric, shilajit, ashwagandha. I try to take some of the best herbs from every culture. Then I'll go into the medicinal mushrooms, the chaga, the reishi. So my tea has a mixture of all the best herbs and mushroom blends that I have in there. And I don't put it in a blender or anything. I shake it in a shaker jar. And I actually put some good fats in the warm tea. I don't have my tea real hot. I don't want to disrupt the herbs because I believe I like keeping my stuff under 122 degrees. I know I just been taught that to keep the enzymes intact. So I put coconut oil in my tea along with all these Ayurvedic herbs like maca, tribulus. And some of those herbs build my adaptogens up or builds me up where I haven't had a cold in 15 years. I don't get sick. So I think a lot of these have an effect on my immune system.
Okay, I like it.
But I didn't start with this overnight. Last year I didn't do this. This is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So and then basically before I go then I soak. What I do, I have some soaked almonds, some soaked walnuts, Brazil nuts. I have my soaked nuts and I get the enzyme inhibitors out. I soak them, but I got a little trick that I learned from Dr. Kassar. Do you know who Dr. Kassar is?
Yeah, he's going to be on our show in a couple months. Yep.
I was just with him. Great guy. He showed me a little trick with fulvic acid.
Uh-huh.
That water turns black in a matter of about 10 seconds.
Yeah. When
you put a few drops of the fulvic acid with the water, it really takes a lot of that the debris off the nuts and that. And I pop the almond shells, the skin off really easy. I don't eat the skins on the almonds.
Okay.
But I find them very bioavailable. I'll soak them, and I'll have from the night before. I'll eat some raw nuts with a handful of goji berries. So I'm chewing on the goji berries, sipping my tea, and that's kind of my pre-workout meal before I go to the gym. And then it's a ritual before I even go to the gym. I'm doing I have a lot of stuff for my skin because I hit 60 this year. I'm trying to repair damaged skin because I'm a sun guy. I've been in the sun for years.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've overdid it, so I'm trying to replenish the tissue of the skin. So this is I'm just trying to slow down the aging. I'm trying to get the old debris of my skin off. Where I do these skin scrubs.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Dr. Kassar's, what he does with the fulvic acid and the silicone on his skin?
Is that like the gua sha stuff that he does?
Gua sha, you do that too. But first you get the debris off. You almost build like a plastic-like substance on your skin. Wow. Every morning. I wash a couple times a day, but when I do this stuff, you can either take vodka, sometimes I take apple cider vinegar, but a lot of times I'll put silicone and fulvic acid and some other stuff, MSM, in this stuff, and it's a scrub that I use with a white cloth.
Okay.
The cloth is black. I rub it across my body. I rub it. I can't believe that I haven't done this for years, but you should see the debris and the crud that comes off your body.
What is that, like dead skin cells and things?
According to Dr. Kassar, that a lot of your skin has to breathe. And that's when you go in the sun. You want your skin fresh and clean. I believe a lot of the skin cancers are caused by a lot of the debris and the garbage on your skin and then lathering it up with the suntan lotion. Stuff's just baking on your skin.
Wow.
So I'm a big sun guy too. I believe in getting sunlight, but I want my skin open and clean before I go out there. I don't put no lotions and potions on. I get out there and I don't really I just wash my armpits. I let that sunlight stay on the skin. Those are some of the tricks that I do. But I do a skin cleansing.
Okay.
And then periodically I do a gua sha in my infrared sauna, which is another story in itself. So a lot of your listeners are probably going, what is all this stuff? This is just some of the stuff starting the day out. That's why I say about all these different protocols. When I come out of the shower when I get all the debris off, then I do a skin brush massage for 5 minutes, getting circulation into the skin.
Oh my gosh.
And now I'm going to put actually magnesium oil and some other stuff on my skin. I want my body to absorb the magnesium. My body's all clean now. Then I rub in fulvic acid, magnesium oil, and silicone into my skin, trying to regenerate the tissues in that before I go to the gym. So.
I love it. Hey, Nick, we got to take a short break. This is our first break that we're going to take, and I want to get more into this stuff. This is really cool. I love learning about this kind of stuff. We are with Nick Stern from Sunwarrior.com. If you haven't tried his protein powder yet, I highly, highly recommend it. It's recommended by just about everybody under the sun, and it's just amazing stuff. So check out his website, sunwarrior.com, and we'll be back with Nick Stern after this break. So rebounding is, in my mind, one of the best ways to detoxify your lymphatic system, and it's the only exercise on earth that will actually detoxify your lymphatic system. And your lymph system is responsible for storing toxins and chemicals and poisons that you're exposed to. And there's no pump for the lymph system. It doesn't have a heart, so you have to move it up and down, and it's filled with millions of one-way valves that get squeezed and pushed and opened and closed every time you jump. And we feel like we've found the best rebounder on the market today. It's the Rolls Royce of rebounding. It's called the Alkaline. And I highly, highly stand behind this product. It's absolutely amazing. If you want to hear what some of our guests said about it, check them out on our store. You can listen to what a lot of our guests have said about rebounding, and the Alkaline in particular. So a lot of times people will go on the rebounder with oxygen for cancer if they're really sick. And it's one of the most powerful things you can do to cleanse your body and to exercise every single cell in your body, every organ in your body. It's the only internal organ exercise you could do. And it's absolutely incredible. It also helps to rebuild bone density because of the up and down motion, the G-force that gets applied to every cell of your body, and it tightens and tones your body, and it's just really, really great aerobic exercise. And the Alkaline is made with straps, these bungee cords instead of springs, so it's silent, and they have a warranty on it. It's the best rebounder on the market today. So if you're in the market for one, I would highly recommend just saving up and getting the Alkaline, because there's no other rebounder on the market that's better than this thing. I firmly believe that. So if you're interested in it, check it out, extremehealthradio.com/Alkaline. That's B as in boy, ELLICON. And you can learn more about it and watch the videos on that page too. So thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy your rebounder, and we'll catch you on the next episode. All right, we're having a good time here with Nick Stern from Sunwarrior Protein. Well, his company's called Sunwarrior, but I think of it as the protein powder. But Nick, hey, I just ran an ad for the rebounder. Do you do any of that kind of stuff, the rebounding and things?
Yeah, that's more my cardio. I actually do it with hand weights, and I have an infrared sauna in my place, so I actually get the heavy metals out. I have a little thing that I do as I go into my protocol. That's later in the day after my gym workout. See, okay. I'm in the gym for one purpose: to keep lean muscle mass and to get stronger. Even at advanced age, I'm still handling some really heavy poundages like I did when I was in my 30s. People ask, why do you train so heavy, and why do you still train with a passion? There's have you done any research on telomeres and telomere shortening?
I have. I think there's a few things that actually help to rebuild the telomeres, I think.
Well, weight training. What happens when you get older? You get slow and you get weak, right? I'm staying young because I'm stronger now than I was in my 30s, believe it or not, on a lot of my movements. It prevents telomere shortening, high intensity training, and I don't want the muscle mass and the bone mass to. I don't want to lose that. When you get older, your body starts to shrink. You lose muscle mass, you lose bone mass, and the reason I train heavy is I think it is one of the things. If you're eating good, you need the hard training. Now I'm finding out more and more. My research leads to high intensity training prevents the telomere shortening. You could overdo it on the cardio. That's why I'm smart on the cardio. Some people do too much the high endurance where it's oxidative damage. Right.
The doctor we had on our show, Dr. William Wong, was talking about anything over, I think, 26 minutes starts to get into like damage.
I'm telling you, my brother, I love my brother. He was a marathon runner. He used to break 3 hours in the marathon. Wow. He used to run up to 100 miles a week. He had open heart surgery, and here he had a super clean diet. And the more I'm researching on that, you get a lot of oxidative stress. Sometimes you have a lot of these long distance runners, they get heart attacks and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just saying some of my research, it doesn't feel right, that real long endurance to me, for my body type. Some people get addictive to it with the hormone rush that you feel so good that I have people that just love cardio and hate weights.
I can't imagine that. That's wild.
Yeah, I'm just the opposite. Wow. I love heavy weight training, but I'm that long, hard cardio. I guess it's just pounding on my body. That's why I like the rebounder.
Yeah, it's great.
Easy on my joints. You're working all your cells internally. You're working trillions of cells. So I like the rebounding for me. And I do sprints on the rebounder. I'm doing jumping jacks with 7-pound dumbbells in each hand, and I'm moving my arms, opening up all those arteries in my arms. And a little trick that I learned, he was in a lecture at the Longevity Conference with David Wolf, Dr. Wu. They get a lot of the heavy metals out of your body. They actually take niacin. They go on the rebounder. It dilates the blood vessels, gets everything going. Then you go into the infrared sauna.
So you do like a rebounder and then like a niacin flush while you're inside.
Oh, you'll get the niacin flush, yeah. And you up that from 100 milligrams. And I've heard reports where they got these guys that really heavy toxic metal poisoning. They've built these people up to 5,000 milligrams a day. That was over a period of time. But the rebounding with the niacin, that really gives you a flush there. So
what's funny is in our kind of world, it's funny because you either have two different sides of stuff. Like you have the people that are in the gym, and they're all kind of fitness related, and they're kind of only concerned with the aesthetics of the body. And then you have people like in the vegan or raw vegan or longevity, whatever side that is. And it's funny how there's not really much of a marrying of two things. Like you don't really see bodybuilders in the gym who are really concerned about their health, And then
that's where I'm trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah,
I need more flexibility. I think you lose your flexibility when you get older. You do need the cardio. You need to get the heart up and you get that blood flowing too. You really need a nice mixture of all that. You need some cleansing in your body. And then we can even break that into the diet. Can you be very healthy? I believe it's healthier to be on an 80-20 plant-based, and then if you're eating any animal products, make sure they're the best quality grass-fed stuff. Or you can go into a lacto-ovo, and that's how I transitioned, getting off the meat. Then I finally got off the fish. Then I was a lacto-ovo for a while, and then periodically I do take a little kefir, but I'm primarily a 90% plant-based raw guy, but my body evolved to that. It didn't happen overnight, and I would binge back and forth. I got to be fair with people that my body sometimes needed stuff, and I'm still trying to figure it out. What is the happy balance? But here's the story why I worked out. Here's why I went more to the plant-based. You could look good. You could train hard and eat kind of loose. When you're young, you're going to look good. When you hit 45, it starts hitting the wall, I call it. I was a competitive bodybuilder back around the Arnold Schwarzenegger area. That's when the movie Pumping Iron came out. I got the bug, and I was a pretty good competitive bodybuilder, and I won some shows and stuff. Yeah. But that was going at about 28 to about 33. I competed. And then, I had to find some career. I wasn't going to compete all my life. That wasn't going to be what I was going to do the rest of my life. But I still am a gym rat, I call it, or a muscle head at heart. But when I say muscle head, it's a good way. I take it as a form of discipline. When you can be disciplined in the gym and work out when you don't feel like it, you can become a better business person or businessman, or you can be more successful in life when you learn the disciplines from working out. It wasn't just about looking good. It was a form of a religion to me, working out, and it still is to this day. I'm still very passionate when I go there. But here's what happened. When I hit around 45 years of age, still had the desire to work out, be in shape. My body was breaking down. And I was from this old school of bodybuilding. We got to eat 6 feedings a day, chicken, steak, fish, tuna, all that stuff. But it caught up to my joints. Okay. What happened to me, my joints were killing me. I mean, there was a point I could hardly lift the weights. And if you can't lift the weights, you start losing your muscle mass. My joints were just killing me. They were just what led to me going more to a plant-based was the uric acid. I found out in meat, your body can only eliminate a certain percentage of the uric acid. A lot of it crystallizes, goes into your joints. Then I've been doing a lot of research on protein. So when you have protein, you have an anabolic pathway and you have a catabolic pathway. What does that mean? I want the anabolic for muscle repair and recovery. I don't want the catabolic, okay? What does that mean? I don't want all the hormones in the meat. I don't want all the uric acid in the meat. And it goes on and on, the GMO-fed crops. Unless you're getting a real pristine source of animal foods, I would say do not be eating that garbage in the regular grocery stores. I mean, that's just, if you ever see what those animals go through and what they shoot them up with and what they're eating, it's just,
it's horrible.
But then you got the Weston Price. This is where I'm talking about. You got all these different schools. Weston Price, if you are going to eat that stuff, eat grass-fed. That's not eating GMO crops and that. So And this I can find, everybody's got to find their journey and find out what makes sense to them. So I recommend anybody, if you are going to go more to a plant-based and still be partly an animal eater, get the highest quality. And then maybe if that doesn't work for you anymore, then you can go more to a lacto-ovo. There was a guy, Bill Pearl. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He won Mr. Universe at 41.
Yeah.
He was a lacto-ovo vegetarian. He ate dairy and eggs,
Okay.
And he was huge. He had a lot of muscle mass. My thing is, so the reason I kind of founded Sunwarrior and started it, I had to do it for myself. I had to find a plant-based source where I can still get my protein to repair my muscle tissue, but a clean source that didn't have all the catabolic waste, I call it.
Okay.
So I was like an old antique car. I had to strip it down before I started building it up again. That's just my story, though.
Wow, so how many calories do you eat a day?
Well, it varied through my course of time. When I switched over, I was eating more calories. What I'm doing now, I'm into anti-aging. And the only proven thing where you can really increase a lot of lifespan is calorie restriction.
Right.
But if you're going to restrict the calories, I just told you just part of my protocol. I got the best superfoods in that tea. And all my foods, I'm getting the most bang for the buck, I call it, for my calories.
Okay.
See, and I'm even experimenting now with, have you been hearing about intermittent fasting and training? Have you found out what it does to the muscle tissue? Have you know much about that?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I've been playing around with that a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Where sometimes my last meal might be 6, 7 o'clock at night, and I don't get to the gym till about, because I do my work in the morning, I'm hitting the gym around 9:30, 10.
Okay.
So my body's in a fasted state about 14 to 16 hours. When I do the high-intensity training, what happens, you're supposedly releasing a lot of growth hormone, and you're breaking old muscle tissue and making it a better tissue out of it, like a young person.
Okay.
And then my first really meal is when I get back. It's my post-workout meal. That is probably my biggest meal of the day is after my workout, and that's called your window of opportunity. If you're a muscle guy, that's kind of what you learn, is that's when you could drive the most nutrients back into the cells to recover for your next workout.
And that's
so I go basically, when I do this, I only do this twice a week, the intermittent fasting, where I'm training on 16 hours of fasting and really high intensity. And it's probably at the 17, 18-hour point where I'm having, and I don't have my tea and stuff when I do on my fasting days. See, I don't have nothing in the morning. Okay. So I'm going there in a fasted state to get these good effects, what I'm reading about now and researching. And that's kind of what I'm doing now is kind of limiting my calories, and I'm trying to actually gain muscle, get stronger while being in a slight negative calorie balance.
Wow, that's amazing. So I know you're a big fan of like every 3 or 4 hours doing like a protein shake or getting some sort of what that's called is called positive nitrogen retention. What does that do? It allows for muscle recovery. What I did, I took a lot of the concepts from the bodybuilding era, having a lot of the heavy animal-based products. I put it into plant-based. It's cleaner on my body, and that's why my joints are much better now. I can lift heavier weights. At 45, my body was just breaking down. For now, my back is good, my shoulders, everything feels good. That allows me to train the way I want to train. How tall are you, and how much do you weigh?
I'm 6 foot, and I range anywhere from 198 to 202 right now with about 8% body fat. Wow. I'm trying to get it down to about 5%. Real slow, though. See, I have another theory. When you hold, it's called a set point. When you hold your lean muscle mass over a given period of time, your body kind of remembers that and holds that leanness. Okay. If you're on a bad diet, you can go up to 10, 12, 15. Your body gets used to getting set at a certain fat level. See, I really eat a wide array of food, so I'm not dieting. I love what I eat. All my meals, I love what I'm doing, so I'm not dieting. I'm trying to change my body composition. See, so I'm doing it very slowly. I'm not in a rush. I'm not going anywhere. And the trouble is when you're young, that's why guys take steroids and stuff. Everybody's in a race. Right. They want the muscles quick. Now, fast. Life don't work that way. Everything is consistent over a long period of time. It's almost like Chinese building strong roots. When you build strong roots, it keeps with you and it stays with you. So my training philosophy is anti-aging now. And anti-aging, having muscle, being quick, being fast. I'm trying to work more on my flexibility because that's the stuff you lose when you get older. You lose muscle mass. Your body just wants to put on more fat when you get older. That's just a genetic thing. So I'm trying to trick Mother Nature with all these protocols that I'm doing. So
yeah. So do you I'm sure you go to bed early, right?
I do, and sometimes I get up. Sometimes I will just pass out. See, I'm a big believer in getting rest when you need it. And sometimes I tend to work. When my company's cooking and we got different projects, sometimes I don't sleep the way I do. So it's not always ideal, but I'm a big believer on Sunday. I turn everything off, my cell phone, I don't answer, I don't even talk much. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I might fast one day on a Saturday or Sunday, but I'll sleep anywhere from 12 to 15 hours. But that's watching movies. You know, I'll get Netflix and I'll watch some movie. It's called recharging the battery. I have one day, it's a total rest day to recharge the batteries. Because I'm trying to get that jing back. And what takes your jing away? Oxidative stress, not sleeping, working mad hours, not getting rest, a bad diet. Mm-hmm. So I like the Chinese philosophy where you build your jing, you get the proper rest, you get the train, you put everything in harmony. That's kind of where I'm at, is putting my body in harmony, where you can train crazy and eat good, but if you're not getting the rest, so that's one of the components you need. Most people can't sit back and relax. Mm-hmm. I try to take that to an art form. When I relax, I relax. I could sleep out in a park somewhere with people all going around me.
That's classic.
So I have the ability to just conk out. A lot of people don't. They're always amped up. So I'm an amped up guy when I work, but I can calm it down too. So I have a perfect balance, I think, of both, where I'm a high energy guy, but yet I know how to relax too. And that took years to learn that trait, to relax too. So.
And so how many days a week do you normally hit the gym?
I'm there 5 days now. I was doing every other day for a while. I keep changing it up. Right now, I just do one body part a day. Like Monday, I do nothing but chest. I annihilate the chest with a lot of different movements. Tuesday is legs. Wednesday is biceps and triceps, my arms. Okay. Thursday is back and hamstrings. I do it like that. And then Friday is my delts. I used to do periods where I used to do a push day, a pull day. You know, a push day would be chest, shoulder, triceps. I interchange my workouts, but right now I'm just annihilating one body part a day. Okay. Where I'm just going in there and thrashing it.
And so do you do, like, let's see, when you go into the gym and you do chest, what's your kind of thing? Do you do like 5 different exercises for the chest, or?
Hitting it from all different angles. I do a lot of rotator cuff work before I even start the chest. Okay. A lot of people don't warm up their rotators, and that's how you get injured, especially when you're hitting 60. Most guys in their 60s, they can't, a lot of their joints are shot. Mine are actually better now because of my diet, the cleansing properties and all the stuff that I do, and then plus all the rotator and the warm-up work before I even start into that. So I do a lot more dumbbell work. I don't do the barbells as much. I tend to get injury prone with like bench presses. Okay. So I'll do dumbbell work where I can put it in the arc that I want for my body type. But I'll do like 100-pound dumbbell incline presses. You know, that's pretty good for my age, for an old timer here. So I do 90-pound flies on a ball. I'm one of those big medicine balls. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I handle some big weights that are isolated, that are pure movements, I call it. So I'll do flies. I will do different cable stuff. I'll have different machines. So I hit the chest area from a lot of different angles, like your deltoids. I hit the rear delt, the side lateral part of the deltoid, the frontal deltoid. I'm a big believer in hitting the muscle from a lot of different angles, and it keeps it balanced so you don't get injured. Okay. Well, I got many more questions that I got to ask you. I want to ask you some more stuff about the particulars of your workout, but we got to take a short break here. You got it. Okay. We are with Nick Stern from Sunwarrior Protein. His website is sunwarrior.com, and we'll be right back after this break. So there's no real way to avoid toxins or chemicals in our daily life. It seems like we're exposed to them no matter what we do in our lives, from paint fumes to mercury fillings, coal-fired plants, perfumes, soaps, off-gassing of carpets in our houses, and genetically modified foods, and foods that are sprayed with pesticides and herbicides, the xenoestrogens in plastics and car exhaust, secondhand smoke, even your dry cleaning and laundry detergents, even your mattresses have chemicals inside them that outgas. So getting these toxins and chemicals and poisons out of your bloodstream and out of your fat cells is going to be really critical moving forward in our society, because it seems like every year there's more and more chemicals that keep becoming introduced with new products in the market. So I would consider getting one of these far infrared saunas. We've got a great sauna developed by Phil Wilson, and I've known about his work for many years, and I'm so proud to be offering his sauna on our website. And he's been in this business
business since 1975. And this sauna is really great because it slows the aging process. It helps with weight loss and burning calories. I think you can burn like 600 calories in 15 or 20 minutes, and it helps to cleanse the skin. It improves your sleep and helps to prevent illnesses like flus and colds, as well as energizing the body. And it's great for improving blood circulation and promoting cellular renewal, as well as increasing metabolism and inducing profuse sweating. And it's really, really great. And the great thing is too, is you don't produce any lactic acid. So you can sweat without producing any of this lactic acid that you would normally produce if you lifted weights or went for a big long run. So if you're interested in this, you can check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna. It's great because it sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes, and it's portable and it's super easy to clean. It's got low electromagnetic field radiation coming off of it, and it produces energy and heat inside the sauna evenly. It's great, great machine. So if you're interested in sweating like this for only 15 minutes a day, it's great. It requires 0 preheating. It's got a 1-year warranty, and Phil Wilson is a great guy. We're so proud to be offering his saunas on our website. So if you're interested, check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna, or you could check it out in our store, and it's $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really a good deal because many of the saunas out there, you can check them out. They're in the thousands of dollars, $2,000 to $4,000. So this is great. You can buy it through PayPal. You don't even need a PayPal account. It's 100% secure. So consider doing this if you're interested in living a long, healthy, disease-free life. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna. All right, we're having a good time here with Nick Stern from Sunwarrior Protein. Thanks for being on today, Nick. I appreciate that.
Sure. Yeah. We're going in a lot of different directions, so I hope we're not driving your listeners nuts.
No, it's okay. It's it's all useful information for sure. I wanted to ask you a lot more about your workout schedule, but I think I should ask some other questions that our listeners might be more into.
The diet is so important, and I want to kind of bridge the gap. I don't, it's almost like religion and politics, Republican, Democrat. You almost got the vegetarian and the meat eaters. I'm trying to bridge the gap somewhere where we can have not this war because the vegetarians, they hate the meat eaters, oh yeah, wimpy. I'm trying to show where you can have a balance of both. Like my products are not just for vegans or vegetarians. I think everybody can have more plant-based, clean proteins in their diet. So even though I know sometimes we might tick off one crowd or the other crowd, it could be so impactful to this planet if I can get a lot of the meat eaters are eating maybe 5 to 6 animal-based feedings a day. If I can get them to eat 1 or 2 plant-based meals, it has such an impact on this planet.
Oh, totally.
And their bodies. I believe in an acid alkaline base in your body. And the more plant foods, fruits, vegetables, and clean source, you're going to be more in an alkaline state. That's probably one of the reasons I don't get sick. I haven't been sick in 15 years. I used to get sick on a regular basis when I was more into the heavy animal-based and the cooked starches and all that. It's just, my immune system is so strong now, so I believe everybody can start changing over a little bit and find what works for them.
Totally.
I believe there's only 22 million maybe vegetarians, or I don't know what the latest report is. So there's a reason why there's not over 300 million people. There's over 300 million people in the United States, but why can't a lot of them go more that way? I don't know. Maybe they go into it so extreme that they don't feel good. I'm trying to give useful information when you could start converting over slowly, and I always preach, let your body go there naturally, and you're going to find what works for you. But I do believe everybody can go on a more plant-based diet, and if you keep it raw, that's why our company is big on raw. You're not denaturing it. Our protein is done with enzymes, and it's the cold extrusion process where we're not denaturing the product. That makes it more bioavailable by the body. See, so that is our principle with all our products. We want them in a raw state. Oh, let me get a plug what we're doing now.
Yeah.
I got 2 important products we're going to be coming up with in the next probably 30 to 45 days. My partner is working, we've been working on this. It's actually a truly raw plant-based vitamin that's done with all herbal extracts and plants. There's no synthetics, no yeast and fermentation. there's a lot of companies that you think you're getting a raw product, but they're not, because they can't have the high dosages, so they're doing little tricks. So this is going to be truly a raw vitamin and mineral formula made from all herbal extracts and plants. And I've been working on this other project myself down here in Florida for the last 6 months. It's going to be an omega formula from from algae. And this is done indoors in a pristine environment with high astaxanthin. I mean, do you know much about astaxanthin? I've been doing a lot of research since I'm into anti-aging. This is this product's going to have all the omegas. It's from algae. A lot of the products out there are from fish oil and stuff. The problem with fish, there's a lot of contamination out there. And I've always had a problem getting an omega-3 product that had all the ratios of the omega-3, the 6, the 9, the 7. We're working on a complex blend of omegas with sea buckthorn, moringa oil. I got the algae growing in a pristine environment indoors, and this is going to be truly a raw product that's done with vibration and water. It's really something cutting edge that nobody's has this on the market right now.
Wow.
And we have stuff to buffer the stomach acids that makes this oil and the astaxanthin more bioavailable to the body. It's really, I've been working on this, and my joints feel so good. I've been taking this product for the last 3 months on myself, and my joints feel tremendous. Wow. And we just did a filming with a doctor. He's a stem cell world expert, Dr. Parita. I don't know if you know what Dr. Parita is. Do you follow football? Ray Lewis?
Yeah, I did hear about that, yeah.
Yeah, he works with a lot of the high-profile athletes. He loves this product for inflammation. When you train hard, the way I train and the way probably you train, you have oxidative stress. One of the number one foods for that would antioxidants would be astaxanthin. So this prevents a lot of inflammation, good for your skin, good for your eyes, good for your brain. This is going to be a really cutting edge product that I will be coming out with probably about 45 days from now, but I'll give you a lot more information after the show and stuff. Once I'm going to have some film clips and really a lot of stuff really detailing the product on here, because a lot of the stuff grown out there is not in the most pristine environment. You got the Fukushima fallout. Most of the algae and the fish oils and all that stuff, you got a lot of contamination going on in the world now. So this is all done indoors with biophotoreactors. Basically, it's sunlight grown in these tanks in a pristine condition indoors that's totally raw. So you have your omegas and you have your astaxanthin with all these antioxidants that I'm putting in there, with different acids to buffer your stomach acids. I actually have some small amounts of clay that we found out in research. It buffers your stomach acids to absorb it. A lot of people take fish oil and that, and they burp it up. Your body's really not absorbing what you should. So, so I'm going to be getting this out to the market soon here. So it's going to be really great for people that work out with or inflammation, or people that can help their eyesight. It's a natural sunscreen internally. I notice I can go out in the sun more. My skin is actually getting a glow to it right now. Wow. So that's another great anti-aging product we're coming up. That
sounds awesome. I've never tried. You guys have a ton of products, and I've only tried the classic vanilla protein, and I love that one because it's like sprouted and biofermented, and it's got the enzymes and stuff. But man, you guys have like liquid light and Ormus greens. I don't even know what the heck those things are, but they sound good.
Okay, the greens, real quick, they're grown in really high volcanic soil. Actually, we did a video with a guy named Matt Monarch. He's in the industry. One of my guys. This is a couple years back when we launched it. The greens actually go up. You ever have a magnet where things kind of like pull up, almost like hair coming up? Our greens, sometimes you can put them on a spoon and they'll kind of raise up.
I've seen that video. It's really cool.
Ormus does that. They're called monatomic elements in this soil where they're grown. See, this is all grown in Utah, where my partner lives in Utah. So a lot of this stuff is grown in volcanic soil. It has these Ormus elements, gold and silver, all these elements that really aren't really publicized a lot about, but they're in there along with the other greens. So they're a mixture of greens. So those greens are pretty special, and they're fermented with probiotics. They're not just thrown in there, they're cultured with probiotics. So you need the probiotics in your colon. You got the greens, very alkalizing, very mineralizing on your body. So that's the greens. That's the purpose of the greens. The liquid light has the fulvic acid, which I talked about earlier. It's actually through millions of years of vegetation, another cold processed product, but what it does, it permeates the cells. It makes the cells more permeable permeable to drive nutrients into the cells. So I put a capful of my liquid light into my smoothies. So that's another product that we have. Another product we have is the activated barley. It's a slow-burning carb. I've been working with some professional football players from the Carolina Panthers right now. And he said, Nick, I got the energy. Yeah, it's a slow-burning. It burns over a few-hour period of time. And I had this guy, one of our ambassadors, his name is Christ Sather. He just set a world record. It was called Badwater. He ran from the lowest elevation in the United States to the highest elevation in the desert. And he was pushing a cart, and he ran, I think the world record was 77 hours. I think he beat it by 5 hours.
No way.
He ran straight for 72 hours pushing a cart with water. And what he had in his thing was the barley and some of our protein and other stuff. Doing this run, he beat the world record by 5 hours, going from the lowest elevation to the highest elevation, pushing a 200-pound cart because he's going through the desert, like 118-degree weather, and then going into the cold with the highest elevation. It was something. We had this on our Sunwarrior news.
Wow.
But see, the barley came in handy for the endurance athletes. So it's a slow-burning carb, and it builds the white T cells. But there's more into it. People can get a lot of that information from our site. So there's rhyme and reason for all our products. My protein is, for one reason, is to have plant-based protein, which are very bioavailable. It's almost like just pure aminos going in you, branched chain amino. It's like amino acids going in your system without all the carbohydrates. See, a lot of the vegetarians go, well, I get all my protein from eating my fruits and vegetables and that. But you got to know how to mix them. And what happened to me, I was low in a lot of the amino acid profiles. Trying to mix, if you're not really good at mixing rice and beans and all that, and if you're more of a vegetarian, you kind of got to know what you're doing. You could be low on certain key amino acids. So our protein all our plant-based proteins are high. They're high in the amino acids, but they're complete proteins. So there's a misconception with the meat eaters. You can't get complete protein. Yes. Our two products, our rice protein and our Warrior blend, is 3 different proteins that we mix together with a different amino acid profile.
Okay.
See, so I'm a big believer in clean proteins that are anabolic and not the catabolic, and I like different amino acid profiles. So I might mix my rice protein on one meal and my Warrior blend, which is pea, cranberry, and hemp protein, in another meal. What I'm doing, it's like my steak and eggs or chicken and fish. Different amino acid profiles.
Right.
Well, my plant-based proteins are different amino acid profiles, but they're complete. Where you don't have to eat the meat and the eggs and all that stuff. Or you can replace one of those meals. If you're not going to be a total vegetarian, it's good to replace some of those meals to keep you, like I said, if you're training and that, your protein is really building muscle tissue and that. You need protein. So I'm just showing people how to get a clean source of protein. I was
going to ask you too, Nick, about some of the ingredients. Got my bag here. What is a xanthan gum and pectin? What are those things?
Those are basically to make it palatable. We're going to be changing a lot of that over to fenugreek. My Warrior blend has fenugreek now, which is a natural fiber. The reason we put those in is a lot of plant-based proteins taste horrendous out there.
I know.
So a lot of my proteins now, my new version we're going to be coming up with, we're using a lot of fiber blends now to actually give you some fiber too. It's good to have some fiber with your protein. But fenugreek, there's some good studies on fenugreek right now, and that's what I'm going to be putting in my protein is the fenugreek. Actually, there's guys actually selling supplements now with fenugreek that puts on muscle mass and strips body fat.
Just that alone.
Yes,
How funny.
But I got it in there just to make the protein. See, I believe the protein has to taste good or you're not going to do it. When I first started, before I started Sunwarrior, I was hacking down hemp protein, and I didn't know about soy protein when I was taking it back then. I raised my estrogen levels. Soy protein, stay away from soy protein. That'll raise your estrogen levels, and it's broken down, I found out later, with a chemical solvent called hexane.
No good.
I did a lot of trial and error to get to this point now, and a lot of research to try to find the means to get the best ingredients where it still tastes good to the body. Because if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to stay on the diet. So,
totally. And
now we have like a smooth. I don't know if you ever go to our site. We have a free downloadable smoothie ebook on our site. 50 recipes from a lot of our experts. To give people a good variety on their smoothies. So my partner has a slogan, instead of a steak, have a shake. So it's a good way to kind of start going a little more to the plant-based and kind of getting your body more in an alkaline condition, I call it.
I hear you. So I want to ask you too, there's a kind of common thing that goes around, and you've heard it 1,000 times being in the bodybuilding world, where people will talk about, how many grams of protein you need each day. And that's kind of just a common question. But my question with that is there a difference? Like, let's say someone needs a certain amount of protein per day and they're doing animal protein, but they need that protein to build muscle. Does the vegetarian protein go hand in hand, like exactly the same amount each one?
I think you need a little more animal protein because you have the bioavailability, the bioavailability is only like 20-30% from what I researched. You have a lot of that catabolic waste. If you follow me, I think you have to have more grams per se of protein for the bioavailability. That's why a lot of the bodybuilders take the whey protein. The bioavailability is higher actually. You have a better absorption rate on whey. A lot of people can't take whey. That's why I developed Sunwarrior protein, because it's plant-based. A lot of the whey proteins ferments in the colon, changes your pH balance. A lot of people get a lot of gas and bloating. It doesn't feel right in their system. I've taken a lot of people off whey onto our products, and they get no gas or bloating. A lot of the MMA fighters, I got some top MMA guys that are all on my protein, and they're not all gassed up in the gym while they're training.
I've been around people like that. That's pretty funny.
And when you go back to grams, how many grams of protein? It's such a debate. The old bodybuilding school, 30 grams every 3 hours. That's the old school stuff.
Right.
I'm trying to get more with higher quality now, and I'm trying to get the most with the least now. That's kind of my thing. Is I'm mixing up my proteins. I have my Warrior blend, and I have my rice protein sometimes. Sometimes I have my greens shake, which is a different form with Chlorella spirulina or Ormus greens. Okay. I have different plant-based feedings during the day to keep my nitrogen levels up. I have my sprouts. I have my my soaked seeds and nuts. So I have a wide array of different plant-based proteins.
Okay, so real quick, Nick. So with your particular products, like not counting, any meals that you have, how many grams of protein of your own product do you take each day, depending on the source? Like the different products.
My most important feeding, because we're going into my protocol. I go to the gym. When I come back, my most important feeding is I want a superfood smoothie. Okay. I can't think of eating eggs and steak, all that stuff. That's what I used to. I used to have, I want something very absorbable when I get back. So that's when I really, I take 2 big scoops of my protein when I get back. Okay. And sometimes at nighttime, I'll make a protein pudding. If I ever do eat any dairy products, it's a kefir, and it's raw. It's made from goat milk. Okay. And I'll put my protein in there with some lemon juice and some cinnamon, and I'll mix my protein and stir it up. It tastes like cheesecake, and then I'll put some fresh berries on it. Oh, wow. I do that occasionally for a feeding at night. I find I sleep good because the calcium in there, that could be one version. I'm experimenting now because still, even the dairy, I just did a little bit. I'm primarily a vegetarian, but I do have a little kefir or raw yogurt once in a while when my body craves it. Okay. But I find I get some phlegm even with that, and I'm playing around now with coconut kefir, and I make stuff with coconuts now, which my body seems to utilize better. Do you do the colostrum? You can make like protein puddings. You can make a chia pudding with chia seeds in our protein. There's so many recipes on our Sunwarrior News. We have actually we have videos with some of our raw food chefs in there. They do videos on making chia puddings, superfood shakes. We have a downloadable ebook on ways to get the protein in. So, like I said, I like having small little feedings during the day. Instead of big feedings, I have small little feedings every 3 hours or so. That just works for me. And then before you go to bed, you just kind of stop eating a few hours before bed kind of thing? Yeah, it depends what I'm doing. Now, sometimes I have a long stretch. If I'm going to do an intermittent fasting before I train, I don't do that every day. I find out I lose weight. I lose weight too quickly. For some people, that might be a good thing. But I lose weight too quickly, and I lose some of my strength levels. Okay. So I'm trying to find a delicate balance to keep my strength level up, to keep my muscle, I do the intermittent fasting to repair the muscle tissue like a young person.
Wow.
What it does, it takes old muscle tissue, and it supposedly, when you're in a fasted state, it makes a better muscle tissue out of it. But I'm only doing that twice a week right now. So on those days, my last meal's between 6 and 7 o'clock. And then I don't eat till 12 o'clock the next day.
It's funny how, like, with some of your anti-aging protocols, it's just funny how, don't you think that if you really wanted to, you could spend all day just doing these different protocols and never work? You know?
I have the ability, this is what I do to pass on to my customers and to my people here. I have the ability to do this now. See, I have 27 employees now at Sunwarrior, and we're in Nevada.
Wow.
And I have my corporate meetings, but I'm the research guy. I'm seeing what works, so I could pass it on to people. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be writing future books. We just come out with our first book. It's a simple book, not all the stuff I'm talking about now. This is for the average Joe. It's called The Warrior Way. I have a book. It's on Amazon. It's called The Warrior Way, a transformational journey toward plant-based living. And this is basically how to convert more to a plant-based diet for people. This is not the hardcore stuff I'm talking about today. This is just for the average Joe. I'm thinking about getting a little healthier and going more to a plant-based diet. This is a book that for the first stage, I call it. Uh-huh. And I'm going to be working on stuff in the coming years here. I'm talking about the ninja tips for people that want to go more to the advanced stages. What I'm talking to you today is kind of a lot of people won't have the time, or they don't have the discipline, to be honest with you.
Right.
See, but my journey is to try to crack the code on aging and try to find out what works so I can pass some of these tips on, to people.
I love it. Well, thanks, Nick, for being on and sharing your wisdom. Man, I feel like I could talk with you for hours on this stuff.
Oh, I can go on and on with this stuff. I went in a lot of different directions today, but I hope maybe you got a few good tips there.
Oh, no, this is great. This is great. All right, well, thanks a lot, Nick, for being on the show. We really, really appreciate this.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us on this edition of Extreme Health Radio. What did you think of Nick Stern and his protocols? Pretty amazing guy, huh? For being 60 years old and doing that kind of work in the gym and looking the way he does. I think it's pretty amazing, and it gives a lot of people a lot of hope, I believe, because it seems like 60 now is so different than what 60 was 30 years ago. I mean, you look at a guy that was 60 years old 30 years ago, or even 50. Man, they just look completely different than Nick does, and he's strong, 6 feet, about 200 pounds, and really motivated. And I think that's really cool. And I think that if we take care of ourselves and take care of our bodies throughout our lifetime, I mean, look at what's possible. And, he was doing a lot of different animal stuff and really kind of poor stuff for many years. And he still looks the way he does. And it's pretty amazing. I think that, a lot of what he does in the gym is contributing to his physique and to his energy levels and things. But I have a feeling that a lot of the stuff he does outside the gym is probably contributing more to his energy levels and to his success in other areas of his life and all that. I mean, there's no way of knowing really, but I guess you would have to clone him and have two different versions of him and see what one would be if they didn't do certain things, and then compare him to the other one. But Nick Stern, he's doing awesome work, and I spoke with him at length off the air, and he's talking about a motivated guy, and man, just a fireball, wasn't he? I could talk to him all day. And it was interesting. A while back, we went to the Health Freedom Expo, my wife and I, and it's just interesting to see people there. And it's weird because when you see the people there, you see a lot of people that sell a lot of things, but they're not really living a lifestyle, like they may be, I don't know. It's just weird. I won't point out any names or anything like that, but I just saw a lot of people there that didn't seem like they were living the kind of lifestyle that they're promoting. And Nick Stern, I mean, talk about a guy that's just razor sharp focus and is really on top of it. It's pretty amazing. So I hope you enjoyed that. A lot of the things that you can make, like the recipes, what I love doing with his protein powder is I'll put, a couple scoops of his protein powder in my blender, my Vitamix, and then I'll put in some frozen berries and an avocado, maybe some ice and a packet of stevia. And I'll blend that up with no liquid at all. And it comes out to this really cold, amazing sorbet that's sweet. And, man, it's so good. And there's a lot of different ways of using his Sunwarrior protein. Some people I've seen on his YouTube channel, like pancakes with it and all kinds of stuff. You can put it in anything. And it's so silky smooth and fine that
if you had a little bit in your hand, you could throw it up in the air and it becomes like a cloud of dust. And it's crazy. You could put it in water. It just mixes right in and makes the water taste sweet and nice. And it's awesome stuff. And I'm so glad that he's out there doing what he's doing, because God knows I don't want to be taking the protein powders that are out there, the conventional protein powders. I don't think those things are any good. I look at that stuff and I just, I look at what would happen if you were doing that for years and years and years, like 20, 30 years. I mean, look at some of the bodybuilders and look at what they're doing and look at how they look at 60, 70 years old. I mean, they can't sustain that kind of thing. They bloat up and they get, that red skin and fat. And I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger now compared to someone like Nick. I mean, look at Arnold. I think Arnold's older than 60. I think he's about 60, 65. But even Arnold 5 years ago compared to Nick now at 60, I mean, it goes to show you that you should really take care of your body and what's possible out there if you really do decide to take care of your body, and, what you could look like and accomplish at 60, 70, 80, 90 years old and feeling good and kind of charging life. And so Nick's a really cool example of that, and I hope you got a lot of value out of the show. If you want to go to sunwarrior.com and just buy the protein powder, feel free to do that. But we have a link on our site if you want to support our work and kind of what we're doing. That would be really helpful. You don't have to, but if you want to, that would be cool. You can learn about that at, extremehealthradio.com/warrior, WARRIOR, warrior. And that'll redirect you to their site, which is cool. You get like a 3-pack of his protein powder with, I think it's like free shipping, and then you get 20% off or something. It's a really good deal. So if you want to support us and purchase his protein powder, that's cool. If you want to just buy it at sunwarrior.com, that's cool too. Whatever floats your boat. And I just hope you enjoyed this interview and got a lot of motivation and a lot of value out of it. We'll be posting it in our fitness section and in our raw vegan section. So yeah, it'll be on the site. And eventually we'll have the transcription on the show. My mom is doing the transcriptions of this shows, but she, it takes a long time to do these things. So eventually you'll be able to read the transcription of it. What's really cool about the transcription, it makes our site and anything that a guest has ever said searchable. So let's say you listen to this interview and then in 6 months from now or 4 years from now, you realize, oh, Nick Stearns said something. He said the word biofermented or something. So what you can do is type that into our search bar and you can find exactly where he said that, and as well as other people that said that. The transcription is going to be really cool to make the site searchable. And so I think right now we have about 17 transcriptions up, I think. So we're trying to get about one a week, but my mom kind of does this on her spare time, so we kind of give her a little grace. But yeah, it's really cool, and I hope you really enjoyed the show. And I was talking with Nick off the air, and he was asking me kind of what my goal is with the show. And, I was just telling him that, what we're about is just empowering people to let you guys know that, there is possibility and there are ways of healing and ways of restoring the body and living where you can completely empower yourself, and you don't have to be addicted to food. You don't have to be needing chemotherapy or drugs or pills or anything. You can really treat things naturally. And the name of the game is prevention. And he was really on board with that and just was really supportive of us. And so that was cool. I like supporting him, and it was really cool to hear him say that about our show. So yeah, I just want to empower people so that you guys know that you can heal yourself and you don't have to be going to the doctor and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to let you know there's hope out there. And the name of the game is prevention and living healthy now and just investing in yourself now, so you don't have to go down the road of the pharmaceutical companies, and you don't have to go down that path, because that path is just, there's nothing good at the end of that path. So anyway, that's enough of that. I hope you really enjoyed the show and you got a lot of value out of it. Let's see, if you would like to support us, we always can accept donations, and we thank you to those who have donated to our show, and we really, really appreciate it. I mean, that's a huge part of how we're going to be remaining sustainable and being able to pay our bills and to buy equipment that we need for the show, and it all adds up. So if you could donate a couple dollars, $5, $10, $20, whatever, we'd greatly, greatly appreciate that. But if you can't, don't worry about it. Just enjoy the show. You can always like us on Facebook or pass our link on to your Facebook friends. That would be a good way to support us. Tell everyone about our show. Pass the links on to your friends. And, we also have a mailing list too with lots of great content coming out of there. We send out about once a week. And so feel free to follow us on Facebook, join our mailing list. And we got a store as well. We got a store with about 75 products on there too. And Nick Stern's Sunwarrior is one of those products. So a lot of cutting edge products and really great products that I stand behind and just love promoting. So check out our store if you're ever interested in things like blenders, dehydrators, and workout programs and all kinds of stuff like that. So make sure to do that if you're interested. If you're not, no big deal at all. I want to thank Mike Adams of Natural News Radio for having us on his site. I appreciate that as well.